So this game has been highly anticipated since before the start of the season. Now, I know you're an Alabama guy. I know the Iron Bowl has always been big, but how good is this Lone Star Showdown for college football to be back? And then on top of that, with the added SEC championship game implications in its first year back.
I think all of that matters. I've only been to A&M 3 or 4 times. I've been to Texas to Austin like 2 or 3 times, and these two teams don't like each other. And so I love it when the disrespect happens from the fans to the players. The players completely don't like each other. Vince Young was just talking about how they're about to come do this to A&M. I love it. So it just makes more for the drama, and I'm all about the drama because I don't always get the I don't have drama in my life, so I either watch it or I like listening to it. So these are two things that I really really enjoyed, and it because the way Texas's schedule laid out at the beginning of the year, everybody knew this game was going to have implications. Texas only had two other really big games, in my opinion. I knew they were going to smoke Michigan, but they were going to have Oklahoma, not because Oklahoma was good, just because Texas hadn't been able to beat Oklahoma. Then you had Georgia at home; they lost that game, and then you had Texas A&M at Kyle Field to finish off the season. And so you knew it was going to be a big time game just because of what Texas' schedule was. I'm glad A&M has not let us down and kind of lived up to that hype up until last week. Very disappointing loss, but we'll see how they rebound after that. I think that'll be a great look for Mike Elko in his first year to have the season that he's been able to have. And then all of a sudden to be able to finish it off by beating Texas and really trying to play spoiler for Texas, that would be huge and a great start for Mike Elko and his coaching tenure there at A&M.
Absolutely. And you mentioned obviously the heartbreaking four overtime loss, a field storm on the road. If you're the Aggies, how do you flush this one and turn your attention to what's probably the biggest game at Kyle Field in over 20 years?
Wow, that's a bold statement right there, Don. I like that. I'm gonna have to use that one. Biggest game in 20 years. I love that. Well, and if you're A&M, I think it's easy to do that. Number one, you got to correct the mistakes that you made this past weekend versus Auburn, because if you don't get them corrected, they're going to show up again. All right. Sark does a great job of building plays and understanding and how to attack your leverage and all these other things, right? So the things that Auburn had success with, he's going to use those as well. And so let's get those mistakes corrected first. You guys spotted them 14, 20 points before you even thought it was a game plan. So we got to start faster, okay? Get the crowd into it early, start faster, get the mistakes corrected that we made. Don't give up big plays in the secondary. And then let's play. Let's go out there and play. You're going to have to play a lot more sound defensively than what you did versus Auburn in the run game and in the pass game. Where last week I didn't think they were disciplined enough in some of the run games and some of the option game. If you got quarterback, you got to take quarterback. If you got dive, you got to take the dive. You guys got to play together as a team. You do that, then you're going to be better, because I don't know how successful you will be offensively lining up and just trying to beat Texas. They have the number one defense in the country, and they are legit, like legit. So their team speed, their size, all these things, they got pros on all three levels. So that's going to be tough. But what would help with that is that the defense gets turnovers or plays good defense and sets our team up in short fields or in scoring position, or just go score yourselves. Like, that's how you win that game if you're A&M, because Kyle Fields going to be ready. Like, that's the one thing you don't have to worry about. I know a 12th man is going to be ready. The rest of us got to do our job. The 12th man is going to be ready. The other 11 have to show up for Texas A&M.
Absolutely. And you touched on it a little bit there, but obviously every position group across the board has to show up in a game like this. But when you look at both sides, Texas and Texas A&M, which position groups for both teams do you think need to have the biggest impact in order to find success?
I think it starts up front, and it's going to be the Texas defensive line versus the Texas A&M offensive line. You guys are going to have to slow them down, whether it's in the run game or protecting Marcel Reed when he wants to drive back and throw it. They got the Trey Moore kid who came in from UTSA on one edge. Then you got the Simmons kid on the other edge, who's a young phenom. You got Anthony Hill Jr. at number 0 playing the linebacker that blitzes and rushes. And Texas just has a lot up front, so you got to be ready to slow these guys down and handle them as they rotate through because they run about six deep. So you got to be ready for that. And if A&M wants to be successful, their offensive line has to have a day. You guys have to be able to run the football, be able to, and I'm not saying you need 15, 20 yards, 8 yards to play. You just need subtle gains to stay on time so you don't have third and longs. So then Marcel Reed feels comfortable whenever he's dropping back on third downs. And then he's also able to go get the first down with his legs if it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 versus a 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 14. I don't like those situations. So keeping it third and manageable, your offensive line has to have a day. They can't, I'm not saying they have to win the battle up front. They just can't lose it. Then let your other things take care of yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, in your opinion, if Texas loses Saturday night, do you think they still make the college football playoff just based on their schedule? I know there's been swirlings about, whether or not their strength of schedule should have them as high as they are right now.
Yes, they'll make it. They may squeeze out the second ACC team, or maybe even. But yes, I do think they make it regardless. Just because, or it could squeeze out of Tennessee. I don't know. We'll have to see. But right now, I do feel like Texas is in regardless because the committee likes Texas. And I don't care what you say. I know they're not going to tell you this on TV, but brands matter. If you are a big brand, you will get in, period. That's why Alabama, for some odd reason, is still out there lurking in the water. If somebody drops a ball this weekend, they're going to be in because everybody like big brands. That's why Notre Dame's in. And regardless, Notre Dame's going to always be in. If they have enough wins, they're going to put them in. So those are the things that I'm saying. And I do think that Texas will be in regardless of the situation or the outcome this weekend. But I would love to see just a really good game. I don't know who I'm picking yet, but it's going to be highly, highly intriguing. Just knowing you guys coming off that loss, how you bounce back versus a Texas team who has lulls offensively, but defensively they're really good.
All right, so then I won't ask you for a score prediction if you don't know, but I will ask since you've played in a lot of SEC road environments. Obviously, you touched on a little bit earlier about the 12th man being ready. How much weight do you give home field advantage in this situation, even though I don't know how many Austin people are going to turn up here in College Station? It's only an hour 45 from here, so I'm not sure. But how much weight do you give to home field advantage in a game like this?
Well, I give to answer your question, I'd say 5 points, 5 to 6 points easily with Kyle Field. I think that's how much it matters there. But it's also some Texas fans in Aggie land too. They not just in Austin. They're all over that state. So they'll show up. I'm looking forward to it. I just think this is such a good game. I'm just so happy that it's in the SEC. I'm an Alabama guy. I grew up in the state of Alabama. I'm a SEC fan. And so to have Texas in the SEC, it seems to fit. I don't know how, but it fits. To have Oklahoma with all their tradition, not a great season this year, but they are a prideful team with a prideful university. It fits in the SEC. And so it's really, really cool because Texas A&M, with as many of their cadets and their madness and kind of a cult-like feeling when I go there on campus, but it fits in the SEC. And I just love the pageantry, and I'm glad that these are games that we get to cover now because they're in our conference and it's just another rivalry of hatred and a little bit of madness to it too. And so I love it because we get to talk about it.